What's up, TRY? Welcome to TRY Online. My name is Chit, and I'm so excited to have you guys join us for small groups tonight. As you can tell, we're doing something a little different this term, where instead of having small group discussions right after the message on a youth night, we'll instead have small groups the week after. So this means we're going to have so much more time to spend with each other, and really our heart in doing this is to provide quality spaces for you to build deeper relationships with your small group leaders and small group members. Last Friday, we launched a brand new series that we titled Heartstrings. And we've created this series around Proverbs 4:23, where it says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And isn't that so true? As we grow older, as we experience new things, we gain new habits, hang with new friends, and live in new environments, without realizing over time, if we're not careful, if we don't check in on the condition of our hearts can quickly turn into a place that is not of God. Our heart is the command center of our lives, and therefore our lives become a reflection of what we cultivate in our hearts. Now, last week we read through Matthew 16:21-25 and learnt that Peter, who had just moments ago declared that Jesus was king, that Jesus was Messiah, had doubted Jesus' plans. In fact, when Jesus explained his plan to die on the cross and rise from the dead after 3 days, Peter said, "Never, Lord. This shall never happen to you," which Jesus then replied, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, and you do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns." You see, Jesus said this because Peter's perspective was earthly and logical, whereas Jesus' perspective was eternal. Isaiah 55 verse 8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." If you're a Christian here today, you'll know that in order for us to follow Jesus, we need to surrender our right to understand, because that's faith. Then in Matthew 16:24-25, it says, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." Following Jesus is actually counterculture. The world tells us to love ourselves, self-love, right? To do what we want to do, to listen to our hearts. But here Jesus is saying, deny yourself, die to yourself. You know, the minute we accept Jesus into our hearts, we become citizens of heaven. We're not of this world anymore. Heaven is our home, and that means that we're allowing God to make us holy. And to be holy means to be set apart from the world, to die to our own selfish desires, and to become more and more like Jesus. And in order to do this, we need to live like Jesus is the Lord of our lives. But it's easier said than done, isn't it? Many of us find it hard to give Jesus our whole heart. But if we want God to move in our life, then that's what we need to do. And God is so kind because He's not going to violate your free will. If He violated your free will, well, that wouldn't be love, and that wouldn't be Him. It wouldn't be God. God has restrained His sovereignty so that He can move through you. Now, there are 3 things that we explored last Friday that could be the reason why God might not be the king of your heart. Number 1, you don't want to lose control. When we try to control our lives, when we want people to see us a certain way, we're actually limiting the way God can move in our lives. It becomes an obstacle to our purpose. And so many of us are being controlled by this spirit of control because we just can't bear the thought of not being in control of our lives. But if we're not letting go, we're not actually letting God be God. Maybe you need to let go today and let God be God. Number 2, you don't want people to see your dirt. Have you ever thought, if people knew I'm struggling with this thing, they would think differently about me. They would hate me. They just wouldn't accept me. They'd kick me out of the friend group. Well, here's the thing. You hiding that thing that you think people will hate you for is actually stopping you from receiving the authority and opportunities that God has planned for you to have in that area. Did you know when you start to struggle with sin that you're struggling with right now, God is actually planning to give you authority over it, and He's giving you influence to lead other people who struggle with it out of it. You want to unlock your destiny? Well, unlock your pain. And last but not least, number 3, you don't want to change. Some of you here today are scared that if you let God into this part of your life that you've hidden for so long, He would actually ask you to remove it from your life, or He'd ask you to stop doing that thing that you really love doing. Or maybe you're scared that He's going to ask you to do something that you don't want to do, and that's going to require you to put your pride aside, to put your fear aside. I don't know what reason you relate with the most, but I guarantee that every single one of us relates with at least one of those. I know I do. So what do? 3 things. Recognize what you value. What's in your heart? Have you given the key to your heart to something or someone you shouldn't have? Is Jesus really the king of your heart? Number 2, recognize what God values. Find out what's important to Him. Find out what He cares about. Reposition your heart to value what God values. How? Well, we're going to explore these things in small group today, and by the end of the night, my hope is that you would have recognized what you value and actually start taking the next steps to align your heart with God. Well, thanks for tuning in today. It's been fun recapping what we talked about last week at youth. I hope you guys have a powerful, powerful time in your small groups tonight. And I hope to see all of you at camp next week or night of worship right here at church on Sunday, 5 p.m. Make sure you're following us on Instagram or Facebook at The Rocks Youth. That's where we keep you guys updated on everything that's happening at TRY. You can also go to therocks.info to find out more about our youth, register for camp, or buy a camp hoodie. That's all from me. I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Bye.